y'all, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at another bug that we've got, and we're just going to be fixing that. So right now what we want to do is fix this issue where it's possible for our tasks to get out of order. Um, so just defining it a little bit more, let's refresh, we'll log out and log in, and we'll just add some more tasks. Okay, so we can actually even see already. So we're adding a task and we're immediately seeing that. This was the task we just added, and yet it's at the top. And if we keep refreshing, it looks like they're staying in order. But if I just do like this is somehow going here. So they're all really they're just getting added out of order. And for our case, we want to just do something really simple. We want to add things in the order in which they were added. We could add eventually the ability to grab and sort things around. We're not going to worry about that right now. But what I do want is just to have some consistency between them. So how are we going to actually do that? If we go into our entity, our task entity, and we go to our task itself, pull me over here. Yeah, there's nothing that we can actually sort by because we've been doing things by UID. So instead, what I want to do is I just want to make a created at field. Normally we have all the created, updated, deleted. I don't really even see a reason to have those right now, and that's why we haven't had it in the past. But yeah, I do think we can just add this created at field and start populating that. And what we'll do is we'll just, when we create it, we'll have a default, and we really won't even be touching it. But for now, what we're going to do is we are going to do a created at field, and this is going to be a date. And the column, we are going to do nullable is false, and default is now. I believe this is the term in order to, in fact, we can comment this out. And yeah, actually, you know what we'll do is let's look up type ORM. Type ORM default date. So default. Okay, I'm seeing these things here. We can also just use this decorator. Okay, date. Okay. Set to the entity's insertion date. You don't need to set this column. It will be set. It will automatically be set. Okay, well that's kind of interesting. Let's see if there's any other use cases of this. Special columns. Wonder how create date column. Type RM create date column. Let's see so we have this created at. Interesting. So let's see here. Created at. Okay. He created two listeners before insert. And we definitely don't want, I just don't see, uh, yeah, this looks like a lot more. So default, I think we can actually just use how I have it here with this default now. But I'm pretty sure this is the way I've seen it in the past. So we're just gonna try to use that and see how that goes. So we have our entity. So now the first thing we want to do is we'll get these things running locally for us. So let's kill our existing. Let's go into our API and let's open up our package to see if we remember how to migrate. Okay, if we do this Docker Compose, so we're going to do a generate. We're going to do npm run generate, and we're going to call this add created at add task created at, and we'll see if this can actually generate what we want. Okay, so it has been created. Let's pull it up into our migrations, but first let's look. So we're altering the task, we're adding this created at column, and the default is now. It's a timestamp, so that actually looks good. If we drag this into our migrations, and then our command to run them is simply run. And we gotta think, this is not gonna apply to our old tasks, and that's why this is important now, because everything in theory is going to be, have this same now. It's not actually gonna do them. It's not gonna go back in time and insert them when they should have. So we ran that locally. Another thing that we want to check is how are our tests running. So npm run test, and let's see if our tests are actually still passing before we actually push this up. Oh, we already are getting a failure. So if we do task.end-to-end, and our second one, it should be responding with an empty array initially, and it's already responding. Looks like this could be related to, we're getting all these failures actually, and this is actually rather slow, which I think we're getting 403 errors is my guess. Yeah, we are. Okay, column task dot created at does not exist. Oh, and the reason why is because we have not migrated our test database. So in order to do that, what we can do is we can just do and this is kind of a pain, honestly. The fact that we're even having to do this. But what we can do is we can do Docker Compose and go right into our files, and we can just change our database to be called test. And I think if we run our migration on this will run our test database, and it'll migrate our test database. So that ran there, and we can switch this guy back, and then we can run our tests again. And I think we'll see if they're passing. They should not be getting the same error, I don't think. There we go. So our test pass. In theory, what we also want to do, we do have a test already that is responding with multiple tasks. So I think we have something that, I don't need to be that big. But what we want to do is we want to modify our logic. So let's do a get. When we get on our normal path, oh, we don't have this test, but that's fine. Well, what we're going to do is we want to do an order by, and we're going to do task.created at, and we want this to go in. So stuff that is older will be first. So we're going to go in ascending order. So we'll see if our tests pass. They do. So I think we're looking good, and I think what we can do is actually just go ahead and commit this, and we'll do a deployment. So we'll commit, and we'll actually instead of committing, what we'll do is we are going to trust our our production. We're just going to work locally, right? Because that's the whole point. So let's go ahead to our actual local area, or local website. So here we are, we're test, and first what we're going to do is we are going to, that's expected. We do have a JWT that is expired, but we relogged in, so we're fine with that. In fact, we can just do like 1, 2, 3, and that still went through, no problem. So let's go into our Postgres, and what we'll do is we're going to look in this task, and we are now seeing this created at, which is very interesting that they are literally the same. So if I do 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wow. Okay, so they're all exactly the same, which is very interesting. I have really no idea. That's really interesting. So we obviously have something going on here, that our created at is just basically locked in. Very interesting here, actually. Makes you wonder, yeah, how could that actually be? So default now, so if I do a select now, what comes back? Do we get anything coming back? Okay, and if I run this again, yeah, see, it is incrementing. Let's look this up. Let's ask ChatGPT. And we'll just ask ChatGPT how to add. In fact, we can even use Copilot in our entity. So we can say default now timestamp. So what we'll do is we'll do at column, and oh, my Copilot doesn't seem to be working right now. So nullable false. Type how to specify a type or an entity with a date with a default of the insertion. All right, let's just see how this is. Well, that seems pretty easy. If you want to have a column different, okay, yeah, I think we'll just do this. Why don't we just do this? That's good enough. And we'll do that. And created at is the time, right? Yes. So we'll add this to our guy up here. And now this file is fixed. We need to generate. Well, we definitely don't need me that big. Let's go out of this. Let's go ahead and generate our migration. Let's call it add task created at fixed. Oh, and we need to go into our API. Put me down there. Okay, so let's see what this is doing. So it's default now instead of, it's really interesting. Oh, this was setting the default at that. Oh, I guess it was evaluating. That's the problem. So we were actually evaluating in our previous one, we were evaluating the now, storing that. Was that in our original migration? Or was that literally, I don't think it was. It was inferring that. So it was getting this now, it was evaluating that, and then throwing that whole thing in a string. Interesting. That's really interesting, actually. So what we'll do is we'll pull this in. We'll go ahead and run that migration. So we'll run the migration, and then we need to migrate our test database as well. And see when that's done. That looks completed. So what we'll do is we'll run this on our test database. All right, so now that's there. So everything is migrated once again. Let's Docker compose up again. Where was our issue originally? Oh, it was because, and now if we refresh, they're all the same. Interesting. Oh, I guess it's because it's not re-adding this table. And so now they're all the same. But when we add new ones, so we'll go back to our browser and we'll just call this guy 1. Whoops. Yeah, we'll call him 1. We're not getting anything. Okay. Is our API running yet? It does look like we are. So you wonder why, if we add 1, 2, oh, it's because we can't put a name that is that small. So we just need to literally call it, we'll call this guy ASD. No, we'll call it, we already have 1, 2, 3. Let's just delete these. Delete. Okay, so we'll do 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5. So if we come to our database now and we refresh, we should see these being different. And yeah, so they are being different. And the other thing what we can do as a really easy check is to simply, so we look at our order, let's just change our order to descending, and we should see this reverse order. Yes, so our ordering is correct. Refresh, and there's our ordering. Okay, so this actually looks like it's working, and I think what we can do, I think that's gonna wrap up this video. We're gonna commit. I will deploy things. I'll come back. We'll continue this if we have any problems with our deployment, but I think we're good for now. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll see you guys in the next video.